short email with a couple of just comments on a couple of the agenda items. Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Horvath?
Aye, Mr. Sutton.
Okay.
Let's go, Debbie. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order. We have all members of council present this afternoon. We also have our CAO, Deepak Joshi, and we have our planning assistant, Kayla, who is filling in for Heather today. So with that, I will call for a resolution for the adoption of the agenda, please.
Resolve the agenda for the meeting be adopted as circulated with the noted additions. Communication for Action, Gull Lake Ratepayers Association Annual Picnic.
Okay, can I have a mover? Councillor Bazarowicz, second. Councillor Sutherland. Any other deletions, additions, changes to the agenda for this afternoon? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, the next item is the confirmation of the minutes from our last meeting, which was on June the 27th. And if I can have that resolution, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There was a couple of minor edits that were requested by Councillor Spicer, which was just an error. There was a resolution on there that was not adopted by council. That's why I didn't have a mover or a seconder. So we took it out. And then there was a typo, so we fixed that. And it says, resolve minutes of June 27th, 2023. Regular meeting council be adopted as presented.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Horvath, second, please. Councillor Strang. Any further discussion, changes, or corrections to the minutes? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. And I guess it's not quite 2:15 and our delegation doesn't appear to be here yet, so...
The delegation's outside waiting.
Oh, okay.
Check. Pardon?
There might be one on Zoom. Taylor from Rec came and told me that she wanted to Zoom for one of the delegations.
Okay, we'll have to set up Zoom then.
I went to the fireball thing up there, right? On Saturday.
Yep.
We had like they had many soccer here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Open house, yeah. I got a bunch of pictures too. Can you get a 300 person there?
Yes. Dana was starting.
Open one with those people.
Jacob Hanlon.
Invitation came this way.
It just, I was in the store. The store was only. So I figured that I should go.
Well, what day was it? Saturday?
Yeah.
Hello, Jacob. Are you here for the delegation? You're muted.
Yes, sorry about that. Yes, I am here. Is it time for me to get started?
We can, if you'd like to take over the screen, start sharing screen. We can get, we're a little earlier, but if you're ready to make the presentation, we're prepared. So we have the council here in the meeting.
Absolutely, yes. I'm happy to get started, and I'll just I'll get my screen shared here, and I'll just start by saying thanks for having me on today. I'm really excited to virtually be here and discuss our food waste solution. I guess I'll just start by saying I'll just introduce myself. My name is Jacob Hanlon. I'm the Municipal Program Coordinator at Food Cycle Science. I believe that my team met a couple of you at the FCM conference in Toronto a few months back. So it's nice to be here and speaking in front of you. And I'm going to go over a decent amount of information here just in the next short little while. So I ask that you stick with me, and I'm happy to answer any questions at the end.
When you meet with them.
speak on who we are. Food Cycle Science is a Canadian company and we're based out of Ottawa, and we are 100% focused on food waste diversion solutions. We do this using our innovative technology, which is called the Food Cycler. It's an in-home food recycler, and while it is sold direct to consumers through our partnerships with companies like Vitamix, we also put our machines into classrooms through some of our partnerships with not-for-profit organizations such as Eco Schools Canada, and to municipalities as well. That's the reason why I'm here today. So our municipal solutions help many small, rural, remote, and northern communities keep food waste out of their landfills. So we're currently working with 99 Canadian municipalities across 8 provinces and 1 territory, from Nelson in British Columbia up to Hay River in the Northwest Territories, and many communities elsewhere in Canada and in Manitoba who face struggles with food waste management, or where curbside organic bin collection just isn't necessarily the best option for them. Nearby to you, we have programs in East St. Paul, West St. Paul, the RM of St. Andrews, the RM of Woodlands, and the city of Portage la Prairie. So to briefly speak about the problem. So the problem with food waste is it is avoidable, and it accounts for a large portion of our household waste. It's made up of mostly liquid, which is heavy and often freezes throughout the wintertime when it's left out in the garbage. And then on top of that, when you bring food waste to the landfill, it's responsible for generating some pretty harmful greenhouse gases. So all these factors make it so that food waste is a problem that has a strong municipal impact. One of the impacts to municipalities is, since food waste makes up such a large portion of our waste stream, it is obviously causing landfills to fill up quickly. Operating a landfill is costly, and we want to extend the lifespan of our landfills for as long as possible. In the environment, the impact there is that when you have organic waste in the landfill, it's squished between tons and tons of garbage, and it's in that environment that doesn't have the access to oxygen that it needs to properly break down. So when the food waste is in this anaerobic environment and it's breaking down without the oxygen necessary, it's creating methane gas, which is quite a bit more harmful to the environment than CO2. And then lastly, in our communities, when we put food waste in the garbage, it causes odors, which is obviously unpleasant for us as humans, but typically interesting for animals like bears and raccoons who like to go through our trash. So removing food waste from the garbage eliminates these issues, and it reduces the overall volume. And this can save on hauling and disposal fees, it can save space in the landfill, and it can also save residents on some hassle and any extra waste fees that they might face. So we often get asked, haven't we solved this already? And yes, there are green bin programs, which are common in big cities with high population density and the right infrastructure, but this can be cost prohibitive and operationally challenging to implement. Many people in your community might backyard compost, and while we do think this is a great solution, it's unfortunately not feasible for everybody. It's certainly not a year-round solution, and there's still the concern about animals going into that backyard bin. And then finally, the easiest solution is to continue to landfill organic waste, but as I mentioned, the long-term impacts here are costly and they're harmful to the environment. So at Food Cycler, we proposed a very different way to deal with our food waste, which really focuses on making it easy to deal with and right in our homes. So we've essentially built a small kitchen appliance. It's about the size of a bread machine, and you can put in your food waste, and this could include meat, poultry, fish, dairy, even some bones. And then you push a button, and what you get after a matter of hours is a dry, odorless, and nutrient-rich soil amendment. The machine can be used anywhere that has a plug. Most people will use it in the kitchen or the basement or even in a heated garage, but with that removable bucket, the machine can really be anywhere indoors, and then that bucket can go under the sink or on the counter for collection. On average, the Food Cycler processes between 1 and 3 kilograms of food waste per cycle, with each cycle taking less than 8 hours, so typically an overnight process, and it uses about 1 to 1.5 kilowatt hours of power per cycle, so that's very similar to having a computer plugged in for the same amount of time. And then that end result is that dry, odorless soil amendment that can be used in a garden, in an existing composting system, and a few other uses that I'll get to in a couple slides here. But basically, this is the breakdown of our 2 machines that we have for these household programs. many households within East St. Paul, West St. Paul, and some of the other municipalities nearby to you. Many people have these in their households through these programs. So the smaller one on the left there has a 2.5 liter capacity, while the one on the right has a 5 liter capacity. Within these programs during the registration period, residents will pick which machine is most suitable for their household. We recommend the Eco 5 there on the right for your larger household, but ultimately it's up to the resident to decide. And then I'll just quickly emphasize here that in that overnight cycle, or that cycle that takes under 8 hours, there's about a 90% reduction in the weight and the volume of food waste. And in the end, you have an almost soil-like substance that is full of nutrients and beneficial to soil health and plant growth. And as I was kind of mentioning there with the beneficial uses of that byproduct, most residents within our programs will add it to their garden soil or a backyard composter, but if those aren't options for people, let's say if they just don't have the land or they don't have a garden or anything like that, it can be taken to a community compost site, put into an existing yard waste system, and then a couple other common uses we see are donating a renewable farm or community garden. Now, from an environmental standpoint, when you're using the food cycler, it's a net negative carbon solution, and this is very similar to planting trees or using solar panels. When you use the food cycler as a solution to avoid bringing food waste to a landfill, you're avoiding more greenhouse gases in the process that you're creating. And the same can't necessarily be said about other municipal operations, such as waste and recycling collection services, which rely on putting a large fleet of collection vehicles on the road, which emit more CO2, which we're trying to avoid in the first place here. And then, just to briefly touch on the environmental, or the economic impact here, the traditional method of managing waste is a heavily burdened system with some pretty underlying costs between trucking, labor, and maintenance. And with the food cycler, through this program, you have a truly decentralized approach, which avoids unnecessary additional labor costs, greenhouse gas emissions from trucking, and those extra infrastructural costs to the municipality and residents. Those are around this decentralized program. Now, I mentioned that we've been working with many municipalities across Canada, and one thing that we've learned is wherever our programs have been implemented, residents are very interested in being part of the solution. They want to try some new things, they want options when it comes to their waste management, and they want their government to bring these solutions to them. So with the food cycler, you do get to bring something that's innovative and tangible to your residents, and they don't need to live in a big city to be able to divert their organics. No matter where Canadians live, whether it's a small rural place or a big city, they should have access to organic waste diversion. Now, I mentioned earlier, we are working with many municipalities across Canada, and to date, we've completed pilot programs in over 50 municipalities and over 6,000 households, and we found that the results have been overwhelmingly positive. We were able to achieve a significant amount of net new waste diversion, with a generous user experience rating of 4.6 out of 5 stars, and a 98% participation rate from residents within the program. Many municipalities have expanded their programs to more households in the community after the initial pilot program. In Nelson, British Columbia, for example, after 2 successful pilot programs, they're in the process now of putting food cycler in every home in their city of 11,000 people. And a couple more slides here before I wrap up. Last summer, we were selected as finalists in Impact Canada's Food Waste Reduction Challenge, which is a 3-part initiative from Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada. So basically, we were awarded $400,000 of federal funding to go right into these programs. We've been investing directly into these municipal programs and really allowing these pilot projects to happen at a heavily subsidized price. We are in the process of the final round of this challenge, and there is one of 2 $1.5 million grant prizes that we have an opportunity to win, and if we do, any of that funding will go right back into these programs, and any municipalities that are partnering with us will have the right of first refusal on the subsequent funding. So just 2 last slides here before I wrap up. Just to go through what the pilot program looks like here really briefly. It's a 12-week project. Residents purchase the food cycler at the subsidized rate from the municipality. They use the unit to track the number of cycles per week, and then at the end of that 12 weeks, the residents get to keep their food cycler, and we ask them to complete a review survey so that we can evaluate the program's success. We then present these results right back to you, and this data can be used to support future waste management decision-making or to accompany a recommendation or grant application to expand the program. And in terms of the pricing structure, the funded pilot programs work based on the subsidy model where Food Cycle Fund provides an initial discount, and then we add in that federal investment from Canada, and this gets the price of each unit down by 50% compared to the retail price. We then ask that the municipality subsidize the cost of the program by $100 per household, and participating residents will then choose which model best suits their household and contribute the remaining amount. And then after that 12-week period, the food cycler is theirs. So my last slide here is we just have some pilot recommendations. This is strictly based off our experience. We had East St. Paul started with 100 households, and they sold out in about 71 minutes, I think it was. They set a record for us, and they ended up adding an additional 100 households right away. I know West St. Paul started with 400, and they're in the process of implementing those. So it really depends on things like budget, resident interest, and we're happy to tailor the program to your needs. So with all that being said, I don't want to take too much time, so I just want to say that I'd like to welcome the RM of St. Lawrence as a partner in this food waste challenge, and we believe that your community would be a great fit for the benefits of the program, especially based on the success of our programs in some of the nearby communities. Today, I would just kindly ask that you receive the presentation of information, and if there is interest in looking at a partnership on one of these pilot programs, I just ask that you refer this to a staff member, and we can work with them in report and recommendation back to council. So with all that being said, thank you very much for your time and your attention, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, thank you very much, Jacob. That was a very good presentation, and I think we all realize that some of our neighbors are using your product already, but I am going to open it up because I'm sure that some of the councilors have some questions. The other thing I was going to ask is, could you forward that presentation to our CAO, please? There was some good information in there. If you could do that, that would be great. So, councilors, questions? Go ahead, Councilor Strang.
Jacob, I guess the one question I have is what is the price of the unit? And is there two different prices or?
Yeah, so within the municipal program, the final cost of the resident would be $150 for the smaller unit or $300 for the larger unit, and that is down from a $500 and $800 retail price. So one of the main aspects of the program is to make this a solution that's as accessible as possible to residents. We understand that financially it's a barrier to get things at the retail price, and not everyone can afford to do that. So by us putting in our discount, the federal funding discount, the municipal subsidy, we all kind of have some skin in the game there, and it really just allows the solution to be more accessible to residents. We have had some municipalities that contribute more than $100 per household, but it is ultimately up to things like budget and what the municipality wants to put in or what they can't put in.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, I'm going to start at the far end. Councilor Spicer, go ahead.
Thanks for your presentation. I'm interested in this concept of meat, poultry, and bones. So, is there a size of bone that it can handle or not handle, like a T-bone out of a T-bone steak?
Yes, so first thing I'll say is both machines do come with a resident guide and an instruction manual that really outline the do's and don'ts of what you can and can't put in. For the small machine, we limit it to chicken wing bones and fish bones, but for the larger machine, it is more robust and has a stronger grounding mechanism, so you can put in larger bones into that one. We try to avoid T-bones and beef bones, but chicken bones, fish bones, even lamb bones, those can all be processed within the machine.
Okay, thanks for the clarification.
Councilor Basarowicz.
Hi, thanks for the presentation. What were the capacities on raw on both of them?
Sorry, the capacity,
The raw material.
Sorry, if you don't mind asking one more time, you kind of.
What are the capacities of the raw material each holds?
Yes, thank you. So the smaller unit can fit 2.5 liters of food waste, and the larger one can fit 5 liters. We always recommend in terms of the inputs to really go, we say to put a mixed diet in. Typically, all of your daily food scraps, between fruit and veggie peels, leftovers from your meals, things like that, coffee grinds, that's the best kind of diet for the machine, and that's kind of what will give you that best well-balanced diet.
Thanks.
Councillor Corbus, I think you had your hand up also.
Yeah, thanks for your presentation. And what's the warranty on something like this? Do you have a warranty or? And what about the like the blades inside? Are they replaceable? And
Yeah, so each unit within the municipal programs comes with a standard 1-year warranty. If anything happens within that time, our customer support team will work with residents and replace it if it needs to be replaced or help troubleshoot problems. We typically don't see any issues happen after, let's say, a few weeks of using the machines. That's why we do that 1-year warranty. If there is any defect with the machine, it's going to be apparent right away. In terms of the blades and the buckets and all the parts of the machines, the small machine, the blade, or both machines and blades are within the bucket, so if there is ever an issue with the blade, we can replace the bucket. But I will say with the larger machine, what's really nice is it's actually designed in a modular fashion, so if there is a certain aspect of the machine that stops working or gets damaged in some way, we can actually just replace that part for the resident without actually having to replace the full machine.
do you have like a testing done? What's the life expectancy on something like this? How many years?
Yeah, so the smaller machine has a 5 to 7 year life expectancy, and the larger machine has a 7 to 10 year life expectancy.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anyone else, questions? Deepak, do you have anything that you would like more information on or questions?
No, I think I understand the program well enough. It's, you're looking for a $100 subsidy from the municipality and then determining how much, how many units you would, the municipality is willing to sort of subsidize at the beginning for the pilot program.
Yes, that's correct. And one thing I will just briefly add is we have some municipal partners where before approving a program, they'll put material up to the residents. We can share information and resident information so that residents can have the opportunity to show interest. And we've actually been able to put out surveys as well and basically work with the municipality before any kind of approval. And then that way you can see what resident demand is like within the RM. And that way, whether it's committing to 50 or 100 or whatever it may be, you actually have a tangible number that you've received from putting things out to residents. So that is an option as well, just not to put any pressure.
Great.
Jacob, I have one more question, just kind of in chatting here. Is there a minimum that we have to take? Like if we decided to go with the program and put out the $100 a unit, is there a minimum, or can we get 50 or 150? Does it make a difference to your company?
So the minimum for these programs is 50 households. There is no maximum. It doesn't have to be a clean number like 50 or 100. If you do a pre-registration and there's 63 people, we can send 63. So it's quite flexible in that sense.
Okay, great, thank you. Anybody else have anything?
Is there, if you take 1,000 or 2,000, is there a discount that way too, or no?
Yes, absolutely. We have volume.
Yeah.
Yep, we have volume discounts for over 500 units. Also, with a program that large, we would work with the municipality to make sure that we can reduce costs where we can, whether it is getting residents the opportunity to get accessories like spare buckets and things like that at a discounted price. These are things where, as the program gets larger, we try to really enhance the partnership as much as we can.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have anything? Okay, Jacob, I'd like to thank you very much for the presentation. I think that you've kind of touched a couple of nerves here. I know that we have talked to our neighbors about it, and council will have further discussion a little bit later today, and our CAO will get a hold of you if we choose to go ahead with the program or if other information is needed. So, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed the discussion, and thanks for taking the time. I look forward to staying in touch. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, you too.
Okay, so our next on the agenda, Madam Mayor, is the Selkirk weed control.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kristen Hator. I'm our Selkirk Weed Control District's weed supervisor and designated inspector for the district. I'm just here to answer any questions you have about coming to a service agreement with Manitoba Infrastructure on regarding weed control on highways and provincial roads.
Okay. Is that something that's coming up, or is it in place now, or, because I've heard a little bit of rumblings about it too.
So, I wasn't given, I wasn't told exactly what you guys have been presented about this, but, so what, we've been speaking about, Dave, at our weed board meetings was, in 2022, the AMM and, Manitoba Infrastructure, came up with a service agreement so that, municipalities, and weed districts, which are multiple municipalities, can come to an agreement with Manitoba Infrastructure regarding weed control on highways. It would essentially give the municipalities that have established weed control programs first dibs at doing the weed control on highways and provincial roads, which in our district we have been doing for since our weed control program has been in place, for decades. Because of the change in the provinces, the way they tender projects, they tried tendering it out. Outside parties came in, underbid the municipal services and severely underperformed. But also because municipalities and weed districts are responsible for enforcing the Noxious Weed Act, we were still outputting all this money on inspecting and having to send out notices to the province because these contractors they were hiring were not up to par. So we, the weed supervisors in Manitoba proposed to AMM that the municipalities and Manitoba Highways come to create some sort of contract where established weed districts can get first dibs on doing this work so that we can maintain weed control at the same same level that I try to keep for our municipality, our weed district. It also makes sure that I will have a budget so that if we do have this agreement, I can hire staff ahead of time, purchase our materials and make sure we have equipment available and get things done in a timely manner. One issue I've run into this year because we don't have an agreement in place is that I have to issue notice each time I see issues on Manitoba Highways property. And for example, they have leafy spurge that their mowers are spreading up Highway 59. And by the time I got the notice out to them and got some services and equipment in gear, their mowers had already cut it down, spreading it further into the RM. And so I can go back and spray those patches, but now I have to watch out down the highway and where those seeds are going to be popping up next year. It's creating a lot more work for us, and the province doesn't compensate us for my time. You guys are paying for my time, and it's taking me away from the other weed control issues around the district. All of our new developments, you know, I'm working with developers, I'm trying to, you know, clean up some of the, you know, changing over from farmland to subdivisions and stuff, and every time I have to go back and do something for highways that's, could be covered under a general maintenance program, it's just a lot of extra time that the province could have, you know, already subsidized for weed and service agreement in place.
Okay, I'm gonna open it up. Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
So what's the roadblock?
The roadblock is just that administration here felt that we need approval from council to go forward. We have, St. Andrews has gone forward, tested it out last year. I got approval and was starting to work on there. We also went about, we also did it this year on highways in St. Andrews. Basically what I do is I split all the highways roads into two, and we spray half of them one year, half of them the next year, and alternate a maintenance program on that, and it's working out. There's a few glitches because some administration rolled over, and you know, the big change is that I'm basically a subcontractor in this agreement, and some municipalities are not comfortable with that setup, so I think the administration here just wanted it to be very clear about how this setup and agreement would be working.
Well said.
Need a resolution from us, that's what you're.
Correct,
Yes.
because it's signing an agreement. Yeah.
Okay, my question though is, you're talking like noxious weeds.
Yes.
So that has nothing to do with the province's roadside cutting.
No, their roadside cutting is to keep the right-of-ways clear for safety. In most weed inspectors' opinions, it spreads weeds around the province faster than anything. So from our perspective, like if we have a maintenance program where we can put down something that has 2 or 3 years of residual control in those areas where they're mowing, we can prevent some weeds moving up. There's lots down around Winnipeg that move up 59 and 8 and 9 into the Interlake, or back down from the cottage areas, and that's what the maintenance program is focused on, is keeping noxious weeds that aren't established here out of our area.
Okay, anybody else? Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
You guys also do mowing though, correct?
We do mowing. Most of our mowing program is for undeveloped properties in the municipality, where the primary noxious weed is thistles, and one of the well-established control methods for that is to mow it twice a year so that it doesn't go to seed, and so that in the fall you take it down again and try to minimize its spread into neighboring properties.
As well as we can call upon you when we want.
Yes.
For bylaw enforcement.
Yeah, bylaw also uses us as a contractor for residential situations or slightly larger if they need someone to, because we have the equipment, they call upon us to help out with that.
So hypothetically, is there an opportunity for the RM to have you mow RM-owned properties?
Yes. We did do several RM properties, but I was told to stop, and that the contractors that were hired by Public Works would be taking over all of those. So when I was first hired in 2015, we did have a list of properties that we mowed, and reassessment after that winter, I was told not to mow them anymore.
So there's an opportunity there if we decide to go back.
Yeah, and it would just be mowing services are separate from weed control. Your levies pay for the weed control program, and we just charge you because you're part owner of the equipment, we charge you a rate to cover the wages and overhead of running the equipment for it, so.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else, questions, comments?
No, I was aware of everything. We just need the service agreement,
Mhm.
basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only issue is that it's kind of late to like get going on this year because like for example, leafy spurge, I've already sent notices out on it this year and it's more of a spring weed issue, and some of the other stuff is already kind of out of season already. I think we could have gotten on this earlier, but the superintendent in this area is not as on the ball as the one on the west side, and there was like, people didn't know it was that there was deadlines there on this side of the river, so.
Yeah, so I think, you know, I understand what you're saying, and as long as we can pass the resolution and get that agreement in place in the near future, everything will be in place so you can have an early start next year, so.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else? Well, I'd like to thank you very much for coming in, Kristen, and hopefully we'll get that done today and we'll get it off to you in the next few days.
Yeah, if you have any other questions about the service agreement, I've been through the process with St. Andrews, so we can sort out any issues.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so our next one was Wally Road, and I don't see landmark planning here.
Yeah, you walk in.
Did he walk in?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I'm not sure which.
So we can go in camera, we can bring him in.
Okay.
Resolve, council recess the regular meeting and go to in-camera to discuss legal and personnel issues. And further be it resolved that all matters discussed are to remain confidential as per section 83(1)D of the municipal law.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, Councillor Sutherland seconds. Any other discussion? Hearing and seeing none, call the question. All those in favor, opposed, carried.
So, on the food grinder thing, don't we have some kind of a RN thing or the municipality buys bulk?
Come on.